Hello everyone, Mario is back. Today we're gonna talk about what happened in the markets over the last week. We have new information about inflation, which came out a week ago. Also, we have big news from the XRP case. Later on, we're gonna go to the charts and I'm gonna show you my next trade setup that I'm waiting for right now. So let's begin. Before we jump into it, I want to give a big shout out to everyone commenting on my videos and liking them. Thank you, Michael, thank you, Martin, and thank you everybody else for the support. This really helps to show this content to more people and bring new audiences who need to learn about these things. With that said, let's begin with the first topic of today's agenda, which is inflation. The latest CPI report for September came in a little higher than expected. The headline inflation came in at 3.7%, while the expected inflation rate was at 3.6%. As you can see at this chart, over the last 2 months already, inflation has been coming up hotter than expected. And in the last 2 months, it didn't even decrease. And to be honest, this is not really good news for the inflation. This could result in the Fed keeping the interest rates higher for longer. Maybe we could even see another interest rate hike. I want to go on this topic a little bit deeper because I also want to show you this little chart which goes all the way back to 1960s. And as you can see, the time period which we've been through right now is definitely going to go into the history books. We haven't seen inflation this high since the 80s. What's worth mentioning is that although the headline inflation is going up right now a little bit, that the core inflation, which is excluding the food and energy prices, is actually going down still. Let me show you a little bit in more detail. Yes, you can see on this chart that basically core inflation is still decreasing. And this is actually good news. Maybe the inflation is not going to be that sticky. And I hope we're actually going to see it really go down to the target level of 2%, which the Fed is expecting to get inflation to. And once we get that, we might see decreasing of the interest rate and finally see a new bull market, which we are waiting for such a long time already. So I have also prepared for you a little bit more charts about inflation, a little bit of a breakdown to see that what of the inflation basket has been actually going up. So here you can see the headline inflation, which is stagnant right now. I have the housing here prepared. And as you can see, housing has been actually down over the last, over in September actually. So this is also good news. The food prices have also been going down. But so what's been going up? This is the question. And it was really recreation, to be honest. Like maybe still the summer was ending in September, so people still been traveling a lot, and transportation inflation has also been going up over the last 4 months actually. So this also proves that people have been traveling a lot, but maybe also the prices for transportation has been going up, and this has kept the inflation at the same levels, the headline inflation. Next up, what I want to show you about inflation is this website called Trueflation, which has a little bit of more precise metrics of calculating inflation. And it shows right now 2.36% inflation. What's interesting that when inflation was peaking, it was showing actually much higher inflation. So now to the good news. And it's the fact that SEC is finally dropping the XRP case. And this is some huge news for the entire cryptocurrency market, not just XRP, because it proves that yes, we can beat SEC. We can win a court case on them. And to be honest, I think we're going to see some massive gains on the XRP. And actually, I'm going to use this as a bridge right to the charts, as I promised, because I first want to have a little look on XRP and see what's happening there. So we can see a little pump on the news events, but to be honest, it's nothing significant right now. But on the long term, I think this is really good news for the market. And this is what we want to be hearing. Let's go into the Bitcoin chart. And here, what I want to be discussing actually is this candle that happened a few days ago. By the way, the reason why this happened was fake news from Cointelegraph. They tweeted that the first Bitcoin ETF was approved, but later on they changed their tweet and it just turned out to be some fake news. And to be honest, for me personally, this just showcases that how much the cryptocurrency market can be manipulated, but it also shows that the Bitcoin ETF news are still not priced in. I think once we really see the first approval of the ETFs, we're going to see some massive moves. We're going to see massive capital moving into the market. And I think that could very well also correspond with the start of the next bull market, but we'll see and we'll find out later. So now let me show you my trade setups that I'm looking at right now. So what's happening right now is that the fact that we are entering this orange box, which by the way, which I have marked here since May 2022, we can see that this area every time that we approach it acts as resistance, but it also acts as support. So this is a high point of interest. And so what I'm looking at is if we manage to get a close above this box, then I would like to see a little retrace, a retest of this support, and then see a pump all the way up to the next resistance level, which is, by the way, the highs from 2022. And so you could maybe get an entry right around this area, set your stop loss somewhere tight around between 0.5% and 1%, and you can go, if you want to be more conservative, I would target something like 4% gains right around these highs. If you want to be even more safe, then I think something around 3% at these previous highs is just perfect. By the way, this resistance at 32K, I think it's really likely that we're gonna revisit it in the next months, or maybe even weeks, maybe even days. But this resistance line is the last one separating us from a bull market. Once we break above this one and we sustain it, I think we finally enter a bull market, and that's also when I'm gonna turn more bullish. But right now, also with the high interest rates and inflation, I'm still kind of conservative. As you know, for long term, I'm always accumulating Bitcoin, but I'm still not trading over bullishly right now. So let's see the next trade setup, which is more bearish. And it's actually that if we don't manage to get above this area, then I would like to see a retracement, then move back to this area, and then move down somewhere just about to test the previous support. So you could get an entry around this area, set your stop loss around here. Let me zoom in. By the way, this is not exact. These are not exact numbers. Never go and just follow somebody else what he's telling you on the trades. Always make sure to do your own research. Know your own risk to reward ratio you want to be using. But this is what I'm eyeing right now. Stop loss right around these areas, because I think that if we break this one, it's likely that we're gonna test higher. But on the other hand, you can set your profits right around these support areas. And again, it's gonna depend on your risk to reward ratio, that how little or how big profits you wanna be locking in. So yes, these are my trade setups. Let me know what you think about them. By the way, none of this is financial advice. I'm just here to entertain you and get you some ideas. I quickly also want to touch on my dollar cost average strategy to provide a little bit update. So what I'm dollar cost averaging right now is mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I also started recently accumulating a little bit more of Cardano, because I think it's really close to its bottom. Let's have a quick look at Cardano. As you can see, it had a huge recession, but it also, if you compare it to its previous bottom, to this bottom, it's still up more than 600%. And it's one of the few altcoins that been around actually for so long, it goes all the way back to 2018. And it has managed to put in higher all-time highs in the last market cycle. And I think in the next one, it's gonna do the same and approach the levels around here, maybe even much higher. But we're gonna talk about that once we are there. Still a long way to go. So guys, if you watched all the way here, I wanna give you a big thank you. Please make sure to consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and also let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. I'm preparing more videos on educational content about macroeconomical stuff, like for example the inflation, where I want to be explaining more the basics, talk maybe a little bit more about what the Fed is, what the interest rates are. So make sure to let me know what you're most interested in, and I'll be happy to cover it here on this channel. So with that said, thank you once again. This was Mario. So stay tuned and see you next time.